See, back home. Long journey today. Going from Amarillo, Texas, all the way back to Phoenix, Arizona. 12-hour drive. Dogs whining in the back, wanting to take shits, but not taking shits. And then you stop and you get out in Heber and they don't take a shit. Oh, what a day. But then I have the pleasure of coming home and watching the Phoenix Suns play the Utah Jazz. Utah. And what a game it was. What a game it was. And, you know, Matthew's he's still traveling back from Amarillo. He's taking flights and such. So you know what? I'm bringing in from the Aussie Suns Fan Podcast, Gavin. How you doing?
Could today be any better? A massive Suns win and a absolute dominating of a game.
You lucky bastard, you lucky bastard. So, you know, for those of you who were watching the podcast yesterday, I mentioned that on Thanksgiving, there wasn't much fighting going on at the Thanksgiving table. So I decided to take to Twitter and really just kind of take it to DA and how frustrated I've been with him as of late, just kind of throughout his entire career. And Gavin from the Aussie Suns Fans Twitter was going back and forth with me. Justin was, Dervish of World was. I think Dave King got in there a little bit, and everyone just told me to pretty much to get bent. Since then, he's completely made me eat crow. And you know what? I fucking love it. 29-20 from DA today, dude.
It couldn't be better. This is exactly what we want to see from him. And unfortunately, the stats haven't updated yet, but I'm really interested to see now how many times we're actually passing him the ball in comparison to what I put on sort of 2-3 days ago.
Yeah, where he was like, what, 25th in the league in touches for starting centers? Is that where he was at?
Yeah, 25th in the league, and he was getting it about 21.4 times a game, something like that. So, honestly, the last 2 games, I think those numbers are going to go through the roof. I think it'd be closer to 30. Still not going to be Jokic level of 71 a game, but 30 will do.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it again because you can see the impact that Deandre Ayton can have on a game when you actually get him the ball. And to my point, when he cares to go get the ball, when he presents himself, when he rolls hard to the basket, when he wants to be involved, and he's been involved over these past, what is this, his 5th consecutive double-double, I believe?
Yeah, 5 in a row now. So he's just in such good touch.
Five in a row. Absolutely fantastic. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast. We appreciate you hanging out with us post-game after this great 1-point win over the Utah Jazz on a Saturday night, which is a Sunday afternoon, I believe, in Australia, correct?
It is. It's about 3:30 or just before 3:30 over here.
Perfect. It's a good time to start drinking. So reminder, if you're watching along live, please hit that thumbs up button on the YouTube. It helps with the analytics. It lets people know when the game's over, come hang out with the Suns Jam Session Podcast. If you're listening to the pod, please subscribe, rate, and review. You can follow me at Darth Voida. You can follow the show at Suns Jam on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And Gavin, tell them where they can follow you guys.
At Aussie Suns Fans on the screen. Follow us on Twitter. We just try and wind some people up, and same name on YouTube. And we'll actually have a live pod that's going on straight after this one.
That's fantastic. So you're going to hang out with us for a little bit, Jamsters, then you're going to pop right over to the Aussie Suns Fans Podcast. Subscribe while you're there. Give them thumbs up while you're there as well. I'll probably pop in the chat and talk a little shit here and there. Been a long day, though. I'm pretty tired. But that's not going to stop me from drinking a beer to celebrate this 29-20 game from DAA. What do you think of cider beer, Gavin?
I'm not a fan personally, but they are popular over here. So,
okay,
each to their own.
Not a huge cider fan. I actually make fun of people who drink cider, but I'm a food and beverage director, and people give me free beer. So I have this Cider Boys Mad Bark Apple Cinnamon Hard Cider that I'm going to be drinking. So wish me luck on this one. Pop them if you got them, Suns fan. Are you drinking anything with me, Gavin?
Yeah, I'm just going with the stock standard Carlton Dry.
There you go, Carlton Dry. I dig it. Pop them if you got them. Let's talk about this win over the Utah Jazz. It was a 113-112 victory for the Phoenix Suns in this game. And of course, Deandre Ayton had a fantastic game. But you know what? That's not where I want to start, Gavin. We'll build up to that. We'll crescendo. It's kind of like a Stairway to Heaven. Okay, right when we hit about the 6.5 minute mark, we're gonna start rocking and jamming to that sick guitar solo that Jimmy Page hits. I want to start with a couple other things. The first thing I wanted to talk about was Cameron Payne. Okay, now obviously for regular watchers of the program, you're used to seeing Matthew, you're used to seeing myself, and a lot of our takes and understanding kind of how we perceive different aspects of this Suns roster. For those of you who are new to Gavin and the Aussie Suns Fans Podcast, it'll be a good opportunity for to kind of understand how he sees and how he's consuming the same things that we're seeing. Because again, I think I'll ping Deandre Ayton. When you look at like Deandre Ayton, for example, there's a bunch of different views. And from a podcasting standpoint, us who have our podcast and we like to talk about it, we have different views on the same player. I'm somebody who wants a little bit more effort from DA. One of the things that Gavin is a fan of is saying, hey, give him more touches. So I mean, there's always some good conversation whenever you talk about different players. But you look at Cameron Payne tonight, and he's obviously been running the point with Chris Paul being out as long as he has been now. 3 of 9 from the field. He had 8 points in this game. He had 6 total assists. Not a stellar Cameron Payne game by any means of the imagination. But what are your thoughts of him thus far this season, and what were your expectations entering this season, Gavin?
Well, personally, I just hoped he improved. I mean, one of the things that I actually said last year was I thought that Cam Payne would regress last year, and it unfortunately turned out to be exactly what happened. But this year, I think he's just been fantastic. Even pre this Chris Paul stretch of Chris Paul not playing, off the bench, Cam was providing a heat to this side. And I actually had a big vent, I suppose, just pre Chris Paul getting injured about the fact that Suns fans lose their minds about wanting to have, at that stage, it was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and we had to bring him over to bring him off the bench to be Chris Paul's backup. When reality is no team in the NBA has a superstar coming off the bench as their backup point guard. Probably the best at that stage was Tyus Jones. Even he's struggling now.
Yeah.
And I think Cam Payne's just about back again as one of the premier backup point guards in the NBA right now.
Yeah, he's been playing out of his mind. And again, like, you entered this game and, only 8 points. But the 6 assists, the way that he's been having the ability to navigate this offense and become more of a playmaker is something that you're continuing to see him grow and flourish in his role. And that's the thing that I really appreciate, because when you lose the likes of a Chris Paul, you're losing a true distributor. And Cam Payne is not going to be the distributor that Chris Paul is going to be. He just isn't. Yeah. But if you utilize him and you utilize Devin Booker's playmaking ability in combination, it shows you what the future of this team could be. It might not necessarily be Cam Payne, but it could be another 2 guard, a Bradley Beal type. I'm not saying go get Bradley Beal, but a Bradley Beal type who can assist with scoring, knowing that if they both kind of combine to score and combine to play the point, the future of this franchise is really in good hands.
And that's the thing another thing I spoke about is positionless basketball. And we're seeing that with Book taking more of the ball now, and we see more point Book. And I think that dynamic between Book and Cam Payne's been really, really good to watch, because it's not always Cam with the ball in his hand. It's not always Book with the ball in his hands. Those two can mix it up, and it just gives us a different dynamic to Chris Paul and Devin Booker that opposition teams really aren't managing that well.
Yeah, if you look around the NBA, a lot of people are, a lot of teams fall into those definitive roles. And I mean, there was instances in this game where we actually saw, Landry Shamet and Damian Lee were playing forwards, for little stretches. So, look who we have here. Boyd joined us.
Look out, he's made it. He's brought the baby too.
Yeah, wow. This is a moment. How you doing, Boyd?
Unreal, buddy, unreal. Sorry I'm late, guys. It was a bit hectic here.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's 3:30 in the afternoon your time. The kids are running around. DA's going for 29 and 20. I'm over here. I just finished a whole plate of crow. It's delicious.
Enjoy that, mate. It's tasting extra nice tonight, I guess. What do you reckon?
of all of the pods where I have you guys come on and Matthew can't be here, it's the one where DA goes for 29 and 20 and just and the game-winning rebound. Like, I mean, how exciting was, you know what? Well, first in true Suns Jam session fashion, I got to do the drop. So let's talk about Deandre Ayton. The Jamsters are going crazy in the chat. We appreciate you being here. Hit those thumbs up buttons if you're here. Where do you guys want to start?
Boyd, go for it.
Mate, he was absolutely everywhere. And there was no, as you delicately put it, John, no going missing this whole weekend. Well, Saturday and Sunday for us. Well, Friday, Saturday for you guys. But, mate, he was... I honestly feel like he's caught wind of some of the crap you guys have been talking about him. It could be Chuck, but it's more likely the Suns Jam session. And he's just he's like, fuck these guys. I'm gonna go and get it. And he's been everywhere, and that's it's a really nice problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, throwing up double doubles at will. I mean, entering this game, his last 4 games, he's been averaging 18 points and 12 rebounds. And, I guess the question becomes, there's three reasons technically, I guess, why he's fueling or what has fueled his recent engagement. One, he got pushed by Pat Bev and something went off in his head and he's like, I'm not taking this shit anymore. 2, it was Charles Barkley stating he needs to be the second best player on the team, and he actually took that to heart. Or 3, it was my Turkey Day shit talking. So which of the 3 do you think it was, Gavin?
Yeah, I'm all over that. I think that he was sitting back on Thanksgiving. The Suns had a day off, and he was watching our Twitter thread, and he just I think it was a case of just a bit of, all right, I'm going to show Voider up here.
It's the story of my life. I can't ever get anything right. And every time
if this is you being wrong, keep doing it.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll have to get on Twitter tonight and be like, DA was fucking horrible tonight.
Hey, no,
no, you fixed him. You got to target someone else now. So now it's Book. Book was terrible tonight. So.
Yes,
Voider, it didn't just start here though. You were fucking canning the fuck out of Torrey Craig.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Look
what he's done. Campaign.
Yeah. So maybe it is you.
I know it's me. Trust me. Here's the other thing is, we all kind of have a rotation on Bright Side of the Sun where we have to cover the games. Every game I've covered this year has been a Suns loss. Like, I just can't get anything fucking right. It's like I started getting in on the family bets with Dan and Justin, and now we always fucking lose. It's like shit, man. I don't know what it is, but it's like I'm like, dude, DA's not engaged. He's like, I'm fucking engaged. It's like Torrey Craig is gonna suck ass this year. He's like, check this out. My campaign can't fucking. He's done. He's toast. He's like, no, I'm not toast. I'm buttered bread, and I'm just gonna run through the NBA. It's just like I can't get anything right. And you know what? Like you said, if this is wrong, who wants to be right?
Exactly right. And I go back to your we had a discussion over the off season where you wrote a piece on Brightside about all of the available free agents, and you didn't hit on any of them.
Not one. And I say it in the article too. I'm like, check this out. I'm going to throw 5 guys out there. Not one of these will happen. And it's just like over. I don't know why Dave has me on Brightside. I just sit around and just don't get things right. I'm like,
what I need you to do, John, what I need you to do is before you go to bed tonight or tomorrow, whenever you get time, is just say how fucking crappy of a shooter Devin Booker is, and then we'll see him go 25 from 25 next game, and we'll break some records. What do you reckon?
Hey, I'm for it because I mean, look at it since the Utah game where he scored 49, right? Like Devin Booker he's averaging 22 points, but his 3-point shooting, well, it's 42%, so it hasn't fallen off that much. 43% from the field, but you look at what he did tonight. And again, it's just not a Devin Booker game. He's 8 for 27. Yeah. So he had 27 points, but he shot the ball 27 points. Now, granted, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. He's definitely affecting the game in other ways. But Matthew and I were having the discussion yesterday. Is this a product of maybe, broken heart syndrome? I mean, he literally went at halftime.
I had that thought.
Well, he went at halftime. He changed his shoes. He brought out the Kobe Proto, what are they called? Protos, the Kobe 5s. He was rocking the 5s. Like he had the 6s on and he put the 5s on just to trying to change something. Do you think he's got a little bit of that broken heart syndrome going on?
When you split with someone, it's always tough. And they were a bit of a glamour couple, so wouldn't surprise me if it took a little while for him to get over it.
Yeah, but like,
nah.
Don't worry about it. We just give the ball to DA. He's got it fixed now.
But that's the thing, though. Go ahead.
He's out. He can fuck anything he wants. He's not fucking too worried, I don't think. He'd be getting anything, man.
Hey, Boyd, this isn't our pod, man.
No, this is absolutely fine for my pod. I don't care. We've been like this for years now. Well, isn't it true though? Like when you split with somebody, you start stroking it better.
Gonna leave that alone, but you definitely stroke it better.
Yeah, he should
it's
be stroking it
either
better.
splitting up or getting married. Either way, results in stroking it better.
Yeah, Thomas Dennett, one of our elite jamsters in the chat, says Book misses back rubs from Kendall.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, I get it. I mean, that's he's not getting those post game massages anymore, and maybe he's a little stiff going out there. The shot isn't there. But to your point, and this is one thing that was absolutely huge in this game, and I tweeted this out. Booker can take rest in the fourth quarter because DA was that dude. Yeah. See what happens when DA's that dude. It's the guy that we've always wanted him to be, and again, it's like I run that very thin line. I think I'm like a lot of Suns fans because I have a Deandre Ayton jersey. I love the guy. He was a first overall pick. He's everything that I've wanted that we need in this franchise. He's the greatest center we've ever had. And that's saying a lot for this franchise that we've never truly had a great center. Alvin Adams, Mark Stoudemire, who was out of position, but knowing that he was
a power forward.
Yeah, he was a power forward. I mean, that's why they went and they got Frankenstein, Kurt Thomas to play the 5 because they wanted him to play the 4. So much akin to a lot of Suns fans, I have such high expectations. It's not even expectations, just like desires. Like I want him to be unbelievably dominating. When's the last time we saw him jam the ball down with such ferocity, not only like once in a game, but like multiple times in multiple games?
Last 2 games, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. Since I fucking tweeted you guys.
But I think it's I think part of the discussion we had as well was the fact that A, they didn't pass him the ball, but B, engaging and doing all that sort of stuff when they're running plays coming down the court and he knows the guards are just going to do all the work. That's got to be demoralizing at times where you just know that the play's not going to be run for you. And is that an excuse when you're getting paid $30 million to play basketball? No, it's not. But I could sort of understand and get where he'd be coming from, where nothing's happening for him. But in the last 2 games, that's what we're seeing. And these guys, he's been unbelievable. And like you said, the dunking and the aggression. I don't think we've seen any, even during his playoff run, DA wasn't as aggressive as he's been in the last 2 games.
No, 100%. I mean, and again, shout out to Carlos Johnson, $5. I'll send you guys each $2 each. As crazy as it sounds, we can build a team around DA and he will thrive. It's not crazy. It's not a crazy concept. A lot of people have talked about, and again, that's been one of the fears of Suns fans. It's one of the things that, when the whole contract situation was going on last summer, we were all afraid that he would end up in Indiana. And what would happen? They would build around him offensively, to your point, Gavin, with offensive sets, focus on trying to get him a high usage rate, 20 to 25 shots a game, and he would thrive. And as you mentioned, in this offense, it is a guard-centric offense. They're going to, from the outside in is how they're going to attack. But what I appreciate, and again, this kind of goes back to what my point was in that, even if you know that you're not going to be engaged in that play, DA would take the play off on the weak side rather than fight for positioning, try to get an offensive rebound, try to get a putback. That's one of the things that I would watch the games. I'm like, you could see him on the weak side fading away and not even trying to get position or not even getting physical with anybody he was playing against, especially in those games when he's playing against other players who he should have the ability to be physical against. Tonight, he was physical against like Kelly Olynyk. He owned him. He went coast to coast one play, and bowled over him and got the foul. Another one, he spun into Lauri Markkanen, and Lauri Markkanen was like walked around like he had a stinger. Like DA has this physicality about him, but there's times where he just doesn't turn that on. And recently, Boyd, he's turned that on.
So tell me, how many have you got the numbers in front of you? Do you know how many shots he took tonight?
Oh yeah, I got that right. Yeah, I got that. What is it, Gavin? 18.
and he's one off a 30 burger.
11 from 18, I think he was.
Yep, 11 for 18.
Yesterday, when he put up the 25 or whatever, he put up 13 or 14. He's doing it extremely efficiently. Now, my question to you is, as far as a big man like DA, just this little captive 2-game streak that we're looking at, a guy like him that can do that offensively, that efficiently, and can defend inside and outside. I mean, I saw him sticking with I think it was Malik Beasley.
That steal.
Well, hey,
my God.
I mean, he ended up letting Beasley score on him in the paint, but he hung with him and took him away from
that was Clarkson.
Was that
Clarkson got him on? Yeah, he got him on the reverse.
But look,
yep.
When was the last time? I mean, that you saw a center like this weekend, DA, that can do what he's doing. I mean, what's your comparison? Your closest comparison?
Joel Embiid minus the 3-point shooting. You know, Joel Embiid has a physicality about him. He can shoot jumpers, and he has a ferocity when he plays down low. That is something that DA I don't think can attain because of sheer size. Joel Embiid's like 7'4", and he's a brick shit house. DA has a lot more athleticism to him. So and he does have more finesse, but he does have the ability to be powerful. When you combine
what about Olajuwon?
Well, exactly. If you go back and you look at the prototypes, it's Hakeem was all finesse. He didn't have power.
Yeah.
David Robinson's the prototype.
For me, it's David Robinson.
Yeah,
I think he is absolutely the second coming of David Robinson. But the only thing that probably drops off a little bit is the block shots.
Mm-hmm. But and the jumper, DA has a better jumper than David Robinson did.
Yeah,
you know, he was a below the key dominant force on both sides of the floor, whereas DA, although he doesn't block the shots, he has a great ability to provide shot deterrence, and that's kind of shots. You know, and that's been my thing through this journey of DeAndre Ayton is, although we might not necessarily always see the offensive production, defensively he's always been very, very solid. He has the ability to switch. He has the ability to shot deter. He has the ability to he has lateral quickness. Unlike who else has lateral quickness as a 5 in the league? Like DA, I don't know.
I don't either. That's what.
Like, not at the 5. They're guys. They're 4s that are playing 5s are the only ones that can do it. Really,
we're in an absolutely prime position right now. And look, even if the really cool thing is that he's also not a player to, if he doesn't get his fucking 20 points or his 15 field goals, he doesn't whinge publicly. He's not he doesn't need the limelight. He doesn't need. So we can have other players flourish around DA. Other people can develop, and we can build as a team, and organically, have a dynasty here with DA just in our back pocket, ready to go off for a weekend like this weekend, and just fucking bring us a couple of W's. It's fucking unreal.
That's an interesting one though, Boyd, and probably stealing some of the material from our pod next. But he won't come out publicly and say he's upset that he's not getting the ball. But I think to John and Matthew's points over previous discussions and what we spoke about on Thanksgiving, your time, is his body language on the court sometimes absolutely suggests that.
Mm-hmm.
And when he takes himself out of the offense by basically just standing in a spot and not engaging in that offensive set, I think that absolutely says that.
No, I completely agree. You know, but on the other side of that coin, one thing that he does do well, and this kind of, echoes Boyd's point, is he isn't so ball dominant. You know, he's not the Michael Irvin kind of player who's like, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, to his detriment. We want him to do that. I want him to do that. I want him to be like, give me that fucking ball, because he can do amazing things with it. But because he can be passive at times, and because he allows others to be successful around him and doesn't complain about it. You know, it's like it's that, catch 22. Well, what do you really want from this $30 million player? Do you want somebody who's bitching and moaning because he's not being engaged enough and he's in the offense and therefore creating rifts within the team, or somebody who's just going to kind of, sometimes just stay back and just
go
let
through the
other
motions
people
a little bit on place.
Exactly. And you know what? The way that I look at it with DeAndre Ayton is all I want from him, and I said it on Twitter. I just want some DA games. We haven't had up to this point. We haven't had some DA games this year, right? We've had some campaign games. We have Mikal Bridges game. Like every game's a Booker game. Give me some DA games this season. That's a team. That is go ahead.
What'd you say with his over this double run? He's averaging 18 and 12. Did you say?
Yeah, before tonight.
And that's a baseline expectation for us. Yeah, that's where it should be.
Bingo. That's where he was his rookie year.
Yeah, and that's his baseline. He and a DA game is tonight.
Yes,
where 21 rebounds and near on 30 points. That's a DA game, but our expectation should be an average of 18-12.
100%. Well, I think again that's the challenge with Suns fans. That is our expectation. So when he's not meeting those numbers or he's not putting up those numbers in productive times of the game. In the second or third quarters when he's getting a bunch of, rebounds or some points. But in the third, a couple of weeks ago when Matthew and I were talking about DA, one of the things that I noted was the fact that he scored at that time like 2.8 points per fourth quarter. His lowest scoring output was in the fourth. That's where you need him the most. So it's the way that he was getting. So you could sit there and look at him and be like, yeah, he put up 18 and 12 tonight, and that's a good stat line. But how did it occur? Whereas tonight, the 29 and 20, every one of those baskets was massive. Every one of those rebounds. I mean, I'll talk about it here in a little bit when I did the subreddit stakeout. It was driving the Jazz fans fucking insane because they could not get a rebound because DA was a vacuum down there.
And he's rebounding with conviction. I had a bit of a go at him on my pod about he felt like he'd get 6 rebounds in a game previously. Everyone would lose their minds, but there was another 6 opportunities where he's just sort of fucking tapping the thing around a bit. And
a little volleyball.
Someone just comes and plucks it away. But that's in the last couple of games I've seen that he's actually going up and just dragging it from one to the other and just fucking taking what he wants. It's really, mate, it's got me excited.
It's some of that Torrey Craigish, because that's how Torrey rebounds, right? Yeah. So shout out once again to Carlos Johnson, $4.99 in the super chat. We truly appreciate it. Every time you guys donate, it helps us put on this amazing content and helps pay for my software to make all my cool drops that I do. If DA played for a team that sucked, he would be a lot more polarizing. But his downfall is that he plays with a balanced team. Yeah, I can see that. Can you guys?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Without question. But if you looked at, and I was going to say it before, if DA was in Indiana right now with Tyrese Halliburton, who's averaging 12 to 14 assists a game, DA would be averaging 25 and 12 this year.
Well, it's like the Jeremy Grant thing, right? Jeremy Grant in Denver was just a role player, but you put him in Detroit, and now you put him in Portland, where he's getting the shot opportunities, and he's a skilled player. He's going to put up massive numbers. So the question becomes like, is he, a good stats, bad team guy? Well, he's not. He's a decent stats. In DA's case, he's a decent stats on a really good team. The best team in the Western Conference now, 13-6. So Samurai Fuchs, $5 in the super chat. DA is scoring. With scoring is the center equivalent of CP3 before this year. Could score 25 a night, but probably defers too much for his own good some nights. He defers way too much, and that's been the issue. And right now, with Cameron Johnson out, with CP3 out, like you need to find offensive production. DA's the guy. Do you think that Charles Barkley calling him out really had an effect on him? I do.
Surely he saw it, so absolutely it would have.
It's. You think so, Boyd?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I still think it's more you guys, but it plays a part. He plays a part.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I know he tunes in after every game. He's like, "Yo,
what are they saying?
What's the jam session saying? What's the jam session saying?" Well, there was another highlight of this game that I wanted to bring up for all you guys, especially considering that I'm joined by the Aussie Suns Fans Podcast.
Jesus, this is a nice limo.
Yes, it is. Now suck my
Jock Landale. We got 5 minutes of Jock Landale in this game. He scored 4 points on 2 of 2 shooting, had 1 rebound, had 1 assist, was a +7 on the night. It's the first time we've seen him in quite some time. Good job, Monty, right? Like, finally made a fucking adjustment.
About time, because I actually tweeted something during the end of the third quarter with Busy in there getting a run and sort of said, look, I love Busy. He's one of the nicest guys in NBA. It's clear some of the stuff he does, but Jock should be getting those minutes. And he comes on and effectively with the momentum turn. And I know we only won the game by 1 point, but it felt like we weren't going to lose after that first 5 minutes of the last quarter after Jock was in. It just felt like we were in control of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we were fighting uphill the entire time until he essentially came in the game because he brought that energy. And even though he was going against their rookie, what's his face, Walker Kessler, who's huge. You know, he's a big guy. And I think that's why Monty Williams continues to kind of play Busy. He's looking for the size matchup, but you can't measure the heart of Jock Landale, can you, Boyd?
Yeah, no, look, I really liked the energy that he brought. It was a perfect change of pace that we needed. Just that bit of because he's a spark guy. He really is. I think busy for what he is and you know what we pay him and the role that he plays. He comes in and he's solid. He's solid. He blocks and he's a real physical presence. Exactly what Monty was saying, but Jock is just a little bit more of a firecracker off of the bench. He can do more things. It's like I don't know. There were people saying that they thought Biyombo was more athletic than Jock, but I
don't think either of them are overly athletic.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel like Jock puts his finger in a lot more pies than what Busy does, and he's just all over the shop, and it was really good to see him come in there and get to play in front of his family who's travelled over to see him. So yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I mean he's a fuck shit up guy, and that's what they needed tonight was to fuck some shit up. And I was kind of surprised after seeing the first half and how Busy played, and he was kind of discombobulated deer with ice skates on, you know, trying to walk through a field, just didn't look like he belonged there. And I was like, I wonder if we'll see Jock in the second half. And I had actually written in my notes to ask you guys, I was like, how does it feel, or how do you feel knowing that Jock is on the roster but not getting any playing time? Because I was like, by the third quarter, I was just like, he's not playing. So I mean, obviously, you know, you're Suns fans, you're from Australia, you got an Australian on the team again. Does it drive you fucking nuts not to see him out there?
No,
yeah,
no,
no, yes,
no. Look, and here's why. So look, I think we saw a little bit of this. This is a Monty thing. It's not a Jock thing. We're not going to. I'm not worried he's going to get traded or anything like that. I think it's.
I know. Well, Suns Twitter does too.
I know. But he likes to get. I mean, he doesn't want to fucking go game to game and give one guy 2 minutes, one guy 3 minutes. He wants to get some extended looks to see how they hold up, to get a proper sample size. I mean, we saw it a little bit. I think last season there was these periods where fucking Elfrid Payton would get fucking 4 games, and I'm screaming at the TV, "Why the fuck are you putting this guy in?" And then, because I was a big Holiday guy, right?
Me too.
He had some defensive chops, and he was that Jock, right? He was that Jock of the guards. And but yeah, look, Monty just does this, and I think it plays into his overall perception of the player and how they're going to fit in. And look, ultimately, we don't need. It's not like we're desperate.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose him? Pick it up.
It looks
Gavin.
like he's frozen. It looks like he's frozen. What I was going to say was based on actually your show yesterday, and you actually brought this topic up where you have Monty tends to play guys in patches, and it sort of ties in with Elfrid Payton as well, where he'll go, okay, well, I'm going to sit you for 4 or 5 games here and let the other guy run. And what we'll do is rotate that over the course of the year. We've seen it over the last couple of years, and I think that's pretty much all it is. Did I want to see Jock play more? Yeah, especially when we were struggling.
Yes.
And tonight, it just showed when he came in that first 5 minutes of the last quarter.
I just love that he did it in the fourth quarter, that he opened the fourth because it was a complete curveball because through 3 quarters, what's the name of the head coach for Utah? First-year coach, came from Boston. Oh, what's the guy's name? Mike
Hardy.
Hardy. Mike, is it Mike Hardy? So he's after 3 quarters, he's like, okay, I know what the Suns are throwing at me. I know what they're throwing at me for the last 2 games, because they just beat them 134 to 133 a week ago. And then all of a sudden you bring in your fuck shit up guy, kind of takes everybody by surprise. And again, he brings in that energy that is so vital to the second team's success. And, again, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. It's part of Monty's strategy on keeping a team engaged. Like, you have 15 players on the roster. You have to keep them engaged throughout the season. You're not going to Mike D'Antoni it where you're like, I'm just going to play 7 guys all the time and fuck the rest of the roster. What's the point? So I think it's a strategy on doing so. Does it drive us crazy at times? Absolutely. But I love that Monty made that adjustment. And shame on me for not having a Monty drop after fucking 4 years. I don't have a Monty Williams drop. Like,
in 4 years. Funny.
Yeah. I think we've been doing the YouTube. I think it's our 3rd season doing YouTube. But before that, we were audio only. Then the pandemic hit, and then Matthew and we used to always record in person. But I moved to like the other side of town. I was just like, let's figure out Zoom, and then StreamYard, or the rest is YouTube history for all 2,500 people who've subscribed. So, we did have the return of Landry Shamet.
All I can say is, Sham, wow.
So Landry Shamet returns after a 7-game absence with concussion protocol symptoms. Played 15 minutes tonight, only had 2 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, 1 for 2 from the field. But it answered our question. If Landry Shamet is playing, who sacrifices their minutes? It was Dwayne Washington Jr. He only played 4 minutes. He actually came out with Landry Shamet initially. Are you excited to see Landry Shamet back? Are you upset that we're going to see less of Dwayne Washington Jr. during this upcoming stretch as we try to reintegrate Landry Shamet? How are we feeling?
Yeah, I think, I think someone just said in the chat, Shamet's defense is significantly superior to Dwayne Washington Jr.'s, but let's be honest, over this stretch that he's been out, Dwayne Washington's been fire. He's come in, he's been able to hit 4 threes in a row and light us up. And that's sort of the expectation that we had from Shamet when he first came across in the trade with Carter, but we just haven't really seen that yet. And again, going back to your show yesterday, we're paying Landry $9-10 million a year. We've got to play. It's as simple as that.
What do you think, Boyd?
Yeah, look, I like Landry. I think this is going to be a bounce back year for him. I think he's defensively, he's real nice. He stays in front of people. It's not like he's a real physical presence and he's going to devastate the other team. But look, I think he's very capable on the defensive end. And look, he doesn't. Whilst he's not the best offensively at the moment. He doesn't do much wrong, and whereas I think whilst Washington is like he's a higher ceiling on what he can give you in a spurt, but I think his floor is also a lot lower. I think that we've got a really nice happy medium with Landry Shamet, and like I said, I think he goes from strength to strength this season. And, looking forward to seeing it, man, for sure.
In saying that too, pre the concussion, Shamet was actually in a bit of a groove. He was playing
he was playing well.
Yeah.
And then when Dwayne Washington came in, we're like, okay, I get it. He scored 31 points in a preseason game, but come on, it's Dwayne Washington, right? Like the kid from Ohio State. He's not that good, and he surprised us. And, Suns fans, you got to get ready for this because I see a lot of you in the chat. A lot of you are like, hey, it's robbery. Dwayne over Landry. To Gavin's point, we're paying this guy $10 million. So you got to look at it like this. One, he's going to be integrated more as he's starting to get his legs back under. I mean, he's missed 7 games. So they want him to get in there. One, because they're paying him $10 million. And 2, it's going to be really hard to trade that asset if you need to trade that asset if he's not playing. So you want to showcase what Landry Shamet's doing. So when December 15th hits and all those players become available for trade, and when the trade deadline hits in February, if you need a piece of deal together, you can say, hey, look, Landry's fucking playing good. It's a $10 million contract. It's a connector contract. You'd rather have that than have him sit on the bench and play Dwayne Washington over him. The plus is Dwayne Washington has given us some very solid minutes. So again, if we're looking at this season as a marathon rather than a quick sprint, be like, oh man, fucking, I wanted Dwayne. Yeah, maybe Dwayne, he's found a good groove here. He's clearly a gifted offensive player. He can play some really good offense. And that's a plus for the Suns. It's one of those diamonds in the rough. So you continue to hold that thing in your back pocket. You go out there, you reintegrate Landry Shamet, and you try to put him on the trade market if and when the time is right, and you get rid of that contract and you garner something that's actually going to be a true need to this team, knowing that you have Dwayne Washington sitting right behind him. It's like a win-win.
Absolutely agree. And just to follow that up, to the people who argue with me, well, we can do that with Dwayne Washington. No, we can't. He's a two-way player. We can't trade him.
Exactly. Yeah, and even if we were to sign him to a full-time contract to be like what, $800,000, it has no value on the market. So you take the fact that the Phoenix Suns have all of their picks. You know, they're not one of these teams that are at the mercy of, you know, who holds all the picks now? New Orleans, OKC, Utah. They have like all the picks. So the fact that we have first-round picks, plus we have a Jay Crowder who's $10 million, plus we have a Landry Shamet, plus we have a Dario Saric. That right there is $29 million in picks. You can make some very interesting moves if James Jones chooses to do that. The goal is to give yourself options as a general manager, something that Rob Pelinka has not done in Los Angeles. They have zero fucking options. They got Pat Bev. That's their option. You know?
Is Lissy coming on, John?
I don't think so. I think he landed at the airport recently, and I'm like, hey, I got the Aussie guys to join me. He's like, cool, thanks, man. Yeah, he's flying. So I drove. I drove today, and shout out real quick to David in the super chat, $10 in the super chat. He goes, way to fucking drive the miles and make this pod happen. I live in Oklahoma, never miss a game, and really treasure the comedy you deliver, especially on lost nights. Thanks for the dedication. It's not comedy; it's just my analysis, man. You know, but yeah, it was like a 700-mile trip. So
it's depression.
It's depression. Yeah, this is my
he
therapy.
Might be talking about your columns that you write for Dave King.
Yeah, that's comedy because none of it's fucking right ever. I was like, good Lord, man. It's just like, oh, geez, one of these years, I write it every off season. I write a piece. I go, hey, here are my 5 targets. They're all wrong. You know, and like it's literally how I predicate and people still like. I wrote one about SGA, and it got retweeted by SB Nation, who runs like all of Brightside and all the different fan sites. Whoa!
Apologies.
Hello, is that Dave King? Dave, how's it going? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm fired. Okay, this is good. This is great. But yeah, it got retweeted, and then like everybody in the world thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And no one read the article. Like if you read the article, you would see right off the bat, I was like, this ain't gonna happen. If it was, and it was like the Suns would have to trade Crowder to New York, garner some of their picks, utilize those picks plus our picks to make SGA happen if they were ever going to do it, but they wouldn't. And it was the whole thing. And every time I write an article, Dave says one thing.
Fuck.
That's about it. He can't believe that he has me on staff. So but yeah, it was a long road trip today, I'll tell you that. Couple other things I want to talk about before we go to Subreddit Stakeout and give out some Jamstar and then get off here so you guys can start your podcast because it's getting ever so late there. It's almost 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock there now. I mean, it's getting really crazy. Does Kelly Olynyk have a horse face?
Yes. It was funny. My daughter, 9-year-old daughter, came out and she was watching the Suns with me. I've set everything up in the garage because my kids have been annoying the crap out of me. But she come out and she goes, "Can I watch with you, Daddy?" And I went, "Of course." And Kelly Olynyk got foul shots, and she went, "Oh my God, I don't think I've ever seen an uglier man." And I went, "Well done, young lady. Off you go."
You're raising her right.
Reminds me a little bit. Is it Wednesday from the Family, Wednesday, or like Carrie from that fucking horror show? Carrie crossed with a fucking horse. It's yeah,
totally.
It's off-putting.
It is off-putting. Like I'm pissed that I've had to watch him twice in the past 10 days. I'm like, oh, yeah. Mr. Ed out there. God, I'm horrible. But that being said, let's do some subreddit stakeout because they always talk shit about our guys.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
So there I was, hanging out. God, how does my wife wear
love
these
the
things?
Disguises.
You have no idea. Well, I'm not as good as Coach Fallen Founder. I mean, he's got like the Trump voice and he does the things. He's got the masks and all that. Like, I'm not at that level, but I still was hanging out on the subreddit stakeout for the Utah Jazz, which I will say, not a lot of action there. Normally when you go to these subreddits, it's where the passionate fans go, some of the educated ones. If you hang out on the Suns ones, that's where you're going to run into the timeline guys and things like that. Like they're breaking down really statistical analysis of such.
No one cares.
Yeah, no one cares. I'd rather just talk shit. And that's why our podcast is the way it is. And you go to the Utah one, and there's you can always see how many people are in there. It'll tell you it's 16 people typing. There's always one person typing on the Utah Jazz subreddit. But here's some of the things that they had to say. And I'll tell you what they had to say, and I want to hear what you guys have to react, because this first one really ticks my bombs, if you will. Guys, I just have to say it. The Suns court colors and unis are so gross. Ours aren't great, but thank God we're not orange and purple. Fuck right off, you cunt.
Have they... Yeah, no, fair point. Have they seen the uniforms they've rolled out this year?
They're like highlighters for
they
the Utah
horrible.
ones.
They're like the domestic basketball ones down the road here. Put some creativity in it. Let's spend some money, for fuck's sake.
Their marketing department's like, all right, so hold on. You're giving us the colors orange, or I'm sorry, yellow, green, blue, purple from the 90s with a weird color orange. Shit, what are we supposed to do? Okay, let's come up with the shittiest looking jersey possible. And they're talking shit about our jerseys.
To be honest, I think they've gone into those jersey design websites, plugged that shit in, and the generic one that's come up, they've gone, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, they probably cut funding. Danny Ainge cutting funding anywhere he can.
Aren't all Utah fans Hicks and fucking racists?
No, they're Mormons.
They live in the hills.
Everything else, I think. So I know I was going to say it's Sunday over there, right? Well, Sunday here. Saturday over there.
It's almost Sunday.
So almost Sunday. Maybe they were getting ready for church. That's why they weren't on subreddit stakeouts.
Maybe. Or they were
Maybe
marrying one of their 10 wives.
Yeah,
when you got 10 wives, it takes a lot of time.
Maybe one of their other wives went, it's date night, or there's a bit to do.
It probably, they ran out of near beer. You hear about this? They drink near beer up in Utah, where it's 2% alcohol.
Well, Boyd will never go to Utah then.
Don't go to Utah.
He'll never make it out alive.
Maybe they all followed Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland. Who knows? They fucking love that guy, didn't they?
Oh God, they did. They talk about him all the time in the subreddit too. So a couple of the things they said in there. THT stands for Taylor Horton Turnover. Thought that was pretty funny. That was a good one.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's
the Suns crowd is so. The one thing is no one could get the fucking Utah stream. They were all bitching like shit. All we have is the Phoenix stream. So I guess all the Utah fans who are fans of Utah don't live locally, so they're trying to stream it, and they all got the Phoenix stream. And all they did, the two things they were doing the whole time, they were dogging Eddie and K-Ray, and you know the sound every time you make a free throw.
Yeah.
It's like when you plug in something to your computer. It was driving them insane. It was so funny.
That's magnificent, man.
But yeah, they said the Suns crowd is so lethargic. They've been trying to hype them up all night. No one cares. Throwing shirts and no hands are even in the air.
I don't think I've ever heard the Suns fans being described as lethargic.
No.
Our crowds are pretty insane, really.
Yeah, and I also think that if you look at the lighting in there, you're not going to see a lot of great fan shots because the lighting is very, it's like Madison Square Garden where it's the front rows are kind of lit and everything beyond that. So it's and you guys know that whenever you stream, for those of you who are used to watching it on Bally Sports, if you're streaming it from afar, you get all the in-game stuff, so
you don't actually, but you see little bits of it and then it fades away and you've got ads cuts and everything else. So you don't actually get to see a hell of a lot of what's going on in there. But while the game's playing, all you can hear is the crowd noise.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Jam in the chat says it, and he's correct. Bally dumps down the sound a lot. It's interesting. You could literally watch the game on Bally Sports and then watch it when it's on TNT, and it sounds completely different. TNT, you hear the crowd at all times. So take that, you Utah bastards. Campaign giving this is great. Campaign giving Olynyk a solid run as the player who bitches most to the refs.
Again, really?
Really? Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, Book whinges a lot.
All the time.
So I could have gone with Book, but Campaign?
I don't see it. I don't notice it. I don't notice a lot of the whinging though. It's it's not a part of the game that I watch. I don't like it. I think I just sort of block it out. But no, I didn't see it. I don't know, John. Did you see it?
No. So
No.
What I'm trying to showcase to everybody is Jazz fans aren't really educated.
Yeah, I was going to say, instead of Mormons, it should say morons.
Yeah, morons. They're like, your colors. Ew. Like, I can comprehend colors.
What's that annoying sound? What's that annoying sound on the free throws?
Yeah, that's what they were saying the whole time. They're like, this guy's an audio terrorist. What's he doing to us? Because they're all watching on their computers and they keep thinking they plug something in. A couple other things. This game is ugly, but not as ugly as Campaign. Anytime you do the subreddit stakeout, everybody talks shit about Campaign. It's hysterical. So I always have to throw that in.
Although, let's go back to our
Kelly
previous
Olynyk.
comment. When you've got Kelly Olynyk, you can't make comment about Cameron.
No, you can't. Like, you're not allowed to. We got to teach these guys something. And last but not least, the last comment on subreddit stakeout. Ayton is killing Kelly. He's doing whatever he wants. 17 fucking boards. I really like the things we get from Kelly, but at some point, we got to wonder if it's worth it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The subreddit stakeout.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Whew, those glasses were hurting my eyes. I don't know how you guys wear them, dude. I got that 20/20 vision. Boyd, you got perfect vision, or you a contact wearer?
Perfect vision, mate.
Yeah, me too. 20/20. Sorry,
Well,
Gavin.
I'd rather the glasses than the sciatica.
Oh God, I don't want to talk about it. It still hurts so bad. God. I have an appointment on Wednesday to like set up my next shot because this ain't it. This ain't it.
No, and especially after driving 11 hours.
Oh
wouldn't
my
be doing
God.
well.
The nice thing is like I drive a Ram and it has heated seats, so it's like having a heating pad on
Turn
the whole
that
time,
on.
which it helped big time. It was also like 36 degrees when I left. It was fucking cold in Amarillo. It was getting ready to rain. Ooh, I'm glad I got out of there. It's nice in Arizona right now. This is the time to be here. So let's hand out some hardware.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters, this is a reminder. If you're watching along live, please hit that thumbs up button. Go ahead, subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review. And again, if you're watching along live or you're listening, head over to the Aussie Suns Fans Podcast right after this because
Directly after.
They're going to go live. I mean, we already got two of them together, so might as well just transfer right over. So
You can join us, John. You're more than welcome.
you know what? I would love to, but I'm beat to shit. I'm surprised I've
lot
got
of
12-hour drive. Fuck.
but I tell you, I owe you guys one. I got to be on there sometime.
Definitely one day. Definitely.
Yeah, I gotta get on there because I have too much fun drinking while I'm in the chat because it's Saturday night. So it's like if I'm lame, I'm 40, I'm at home, I'm not doing anything. My wife's like, "What are you doing over there laughing?" I got my AirPods in. I'm just like saying like, "Suck my jock," you know, like, you jock suckers. You know, I'm like coming up with stupid shit. You know, so I got to get in there one time.
Or you've dropped the C-bomb for the 5th time.
Oh yeah, just because you can. Matthew and I were talking about that on last night's podcast. It's like, isn't cunt like a bad word? It's like not anymore. And if you hang around the Aussies, it's definitely not. No. So
it's a term of endearment.
We're trying to make that happen here in the States. So, Boyd, who's your jam star?
Well, it's DA. It's DA.
Okay.
An honourable mention for Mikal.
Okay. Yeah. We didn't even talk about Mikal. He had a great game too. I had one question for you guys on Mikal. Let's see. Looking at my notes,
like 70% from the field.
7 from 10. 7 from 10.
7 for 10.
It looks like Kawhi Leonard in the mid-range.
100%.
Whoa. Oof.
Looking good. So is his shot selection and shot making ability becoming more difficult? Because like he's taking some really tough shots and he's making them now. So he's like he's starting to take that next level, right?
Yeah,
it is.
Well, and they're shots that he never would have even thought about taking previously. It's wide open, or he never took them. And I think that by resting Chris Paul with the heel soreness, it's actually allowed Mikal to start taking these shots, which is great. It's exactly what we all wanted to see in the offseason. Mikal stepping up, DA stepping up, everything rather than just Book and Chris Paul. And how great is it to watch where He gets in, he bullies down Colin Sexton, turns around.
Yes.
Well, he did it to Kelly Olynyk as well. Bullied him down. And because his arms are so long, he's just never getting blocked with that shot.
Just fading away. And they're all hitting.
It's a fadeaway. Like he's got those long arms and he has a fadeaway. And Boyd, you nailed it. He's got a little Kawhi Leonard in him with those shots. That's where he lives, is right in that zone. And no, that's great. I'm going to write a piece about that on Brightside, and he'll never do it again. As long as he doesn't
live in straight clothes like Kawhi.
Unlike Kawhi, he's never missed a game.
Yeah, facts.
Fuck.
I better not write about that. Gavin, who's your jam star of the game?
No, very, very difficult to go past DeAndre Ayton, I would have thought. Honorable mention for Jock Landale's 5 minutes.
And I was going to say DA clearly, and again, good for you guys coming on the podcast on a DA one. And see, I own up when I'm wrong on things. He's proven me wrong over these past few days, and I love that he's proven me wrong.
We tried to warn you that this was the case.
You weren't warning me. You were giving me a history coming up to that point, and he was not doing any of that shit.
Let's not do the thing where the very next game that he only gets 8 rebounds that we just fucking dump on him again. Please, Voida, please.
Oh, I will.
The only other honourable mention I have for the Suns Jamstar is Ish's afro.
Yeah, looking nice.
Yeah, it's a great afro.
Like that's.
And if anyone saw the clip of him entering the game today, he had it like a shirt on with a dude with an afro on it, and it was kind of like he was wearing his own shirt. It was magnificent. Check that out on Twitter. Phoenix Suns Twitter. Check it out.
Yeah, he's making a run for the Jesse Katsopoulos Best Hair Award that we give out during the Jammies. So, yeah, no, I mean, Boyd, you got to understand, like, this is a post-game podcast. We're going to react to everything, and we're going to overreact to everything. That's our job. That's what we do.
Don't hit me with facts, mate. With things that are quite credible. I don't want to hear it.
You try going live after every fucking game. It's tough. You got to come up with content. DA is great for content. Sometimes he sucks, and Matthew and I can talk about it for 20 minutes. Sometimes he's great. We can talk about it for 30. It's fucking great.
We've actually got the perfect times to go live, but we don't want to go up against you guys. Like you guys are the OG, so we're not competing with Jam Session.
Well, we appreciate that. You know, PHNX, they still compete with us, you know, and I still razz Espo and Saul as much as I can. You know, I was actually during their pregame. I was in the chat talking some shit, you know. And
do you
copycats? That's all.
Are you offended that they stole your idea, mate?
Nah, whatever. You know, that's we were doing post-game podcasts with them during the playoffs. Of the 2021 run, and we were actually going to be a part of that whole PHNX thing, and then they kind of pivoted and took it themselves, and I was just like, whatever. You know, if there's more Suns content out there, then everybody wins, in my opinion.
Exactly right.
And that's why it's like, if you guys ever need help with anything, I'm always there to help everybody. Look at So Says Jay.
Oh yeah, he's all
I'm
over
sorry.
it.
We're the OGs now. We're the
Justin,
OG.
Yes, we're talking about the OG post game podcast. Justin, don't be so sensitive.
We're stealing your ideas too. We're stealing your drops. We stole your fucking platform. We just have to get some good content and learn a bit more about basketball, mate. You got a problem.
The great thing is that whenever I send John a message and go, I need your help with this, bang, he's there. Our Jock Landale drop is all John.
Yeah, I made that one. I made your logos. I'm a graphic designer. You needed one last week. I couldn't get to it.
I'm still waiting for that one.
For the Trump one. Yeah, I'll make that happen. But again, like I look at it like this, man. Again, the more Phoenix Suns content out there, the better. So if they're watching you guys, if they're watching us, if they're watching PHNX, if they're watching Dave and the Solar Panel, if they're watching the Fanning the Flames podcast, the He's on Fire podcast, like it's like a fraternity of people who love the Phoenix Suns. How could you not root for that? So that's how I've always felt with like Saul, Espo, Gerald, Lindsay. They do a great job at PHNX.
And
we just do it different over here.
There's a hell of a lot of podcast rivalry that I see going on, but I don't understand it. The more content, the better.
That's how
Give
I've
it all
always
to
looked
me.
at it.
If I could sit in the car, I've got to drive for work most of the time. If I could sit in the car and have podcast after podcast, I'm happy.
Yes, Thomas Dennett, Suns Geek. You know, Suns Geek is actually the reason the Suns Jam session exists is because Matthew and I were at a game. We ran into Suns Geek. He gave us his business card. He goes, "Yeah, I create YouTube content for the Phoenix Suns." I'm like, "Well, if you can do it, I can." And then we went from there. You know, it's just that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. You know, we're all on the same team, the Phoenix Suns.
And you're seeing them all roll in the comments now. Like He's on Fire podcast.
Yeah.
All of these are great. I mean, we've spoken to all of these guys, and we have great relationships between most of these pods. It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I have a bad relationship with any of them. They just, whenever you ask for anything, I'll be right there for you guys. And I appreciate you guys coming on tonight and helping us out again. Long drive for me, Lissy traveling as well. So knowing that you guys stepped up and helped us out, we truly appreciate it. That's all we got on this show, Jamsters. Again, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're consuming this content. Go check out all of those other podcasts and pages that we talked about. Read all my wrong writings on brightsideofthesun.com. And Gavin and Boyd, tell them where they can follow you guys.
At Aussie Suns Fans or at Guesswork Gav, but mostly at Guesswork Gav is Australian sport, so you'll probably be bored. I do most of my work on it at Aussie Suns Fans. Check out our YouTube page. Actually, go and check out our YouTube page as soon as this is finished because we'll roll straight into that. And we'd love to have you guys on there in our chat as well, commenting and keeping us entertained.
Whether can they call you Boyd?
At Boods83. BOODS 83. Now, is that pronounced Boods, Boods or Boods? How do you pronounce that? Boods 83.
Boods.
Boods.
Like
I told you
like,
it's Boods.
Like dudes. Why 83?
I'd say year of birth.
That was the year I was hatched.
Yeah, I would have thought
on a hill.
So Australians are really clever. Like we always throw like the year of birth at the end of shit.
What year were you birthed, Gavin?
I'm not going to say that because it makes me look old next to his 83. No, 78 for me.
Okay. I'm 82.
Fuck. He's like, you're old as fuck. You'll be dead soon, Gav. Fucking getting on. Fuck,
I'm halfway there. I'm halfway. I'm at the perfect cup, half full, half empty thing. So I look at it as I'm halfway, like I'm half empty at the moment, but you probably look at half full and I'm almost dead.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, again, thank you, Jamsters, for joining us. We'll be live Monday when the Suns play those pesky Sacramento Kings. But until then, again, head over to the Aussie Suns Fans Podcast after this and go home and love your Deandre Ayton.